Before I do that, so here we go again. Good afternoon, welcome to another wonderful day of Rotary. Certainly glad to have each one of you here. Has everybody noticed nobody's talking about brackets anymore? I wonder why. I was in Louisville, Kentucky this past weekend for a funeral, unfortunately. But in that one weekend, two of the North Carolina teams lost, and Kentucky lost, and the Louisville women lost. And it was just like a giant funeral procession in the whole place there or whatever. But anyway, there's one.
It wasn't the funeral procession because Kentucky lost.
Well, for them in Louisville, you're right. They were kind of cheering that thing. But anyway, we're certainly glad to have you here today. And at this time, I'm going to ask Jeremy if he would give our invocation, please. Bless you.
If you'll please pray with me the Rotary prayer. Service above self. Open our eyes that we may see. Open our ears that we may hear. Touch our hearts that we may love. Clear our minds that we may think. Strengthen our hands that we may work. Amen.
Thank you, Jeremy. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead. I'll go ahead and do that. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Rotary. We're excited today to have the CUFC doing our program. We have Ms. Susan Clegg and also Ms. Teresa Kelly. So welcome to Rotary.
Thank you.
Do we have any announcements that need to be brought before the board today?
I put flyers on the tables about the Charity Day sale. This year it's different. It's all day long. You don't have to be there at 7 to 9 in the morning. So there's no excuse for not buying a ticket. And you get the money back when you go and purchase something, and the club keeps the $5. So if we all would buy a ticket, that's $150, $200 right there. And then I will be over there that morning, hopefully, and sell things, and we'll get some more money. So just keep it. And I have some tickets here today if anybody wants to buy it. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, John.
If you hadn't signed this, please raise your hand. There is a thinking of you card that we're passing around for Al Ruchet's wife, Linda. She's having surgery tomorrow, so we're wishing her well. So if you hadn't signed this, please let me know and I'll send it back around one more time. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Peggy?
I also put flyers around about the temple season, but there are a couple things coming up that aren't on there that I would just tell you about. This Friday, which is tomorrow, we have Southern Voice, which is Tim Hare's band. It's a great band. They put on a great show, starting at 7:30. And Temple's own Faith Bardill, who's now a Country Music Award-winning North Carolina champion country singer, and she's a beautiful young woman, is going to be the opening act. So please join us for a night of fabulous music tomorrow night at 7:30. Then on April 14th, if there are any Game of Thrones fans, after we've all recovered from the downtown Sanford Street Fest on the 13th, please join us at Hugger Muggers because we're doing a Game of Thrones party. There's going to be yoga, there's going to be costume contests, there's going to be a trivia event. It's going to be a lot of fun, and so it's to get people downtown to Hugger Mugger and also to support the Temple Theater. So that's it. Thanks.
Chad?
Well, Peggy, all I've heard about the past 2 weeks is the gospel singing that was going on that was called Big River, and I heard so many folks talk about that.
Yeah,
Great job.
it was a beautiful production. I was sad to see that one go, but I was very happy that it actually doubled my budget in ticket sales. People came out in droves, so thank you all. And we just started Grease last night, and again, I don't know how I luck out to bring this talent to Sanford. I have a guy from LA who's phenomenal. I have two people from Chicago. I have a guy from New York. It's going to knock your socks off. It's going to knock your Bobby socks off.
Thank you. Chad, yeah.
All right, just well, piggybacking on that, I asked Peggy a while back what the season tickets go for, and on the back of here, looks like there's not that much, so that's a huge, awesome deal. Yeah. 180 bucks, 175, but some more local stuff going on this weekend with the music scene. Obviously, Tim Hare and Faith are playing Friday. I plan on going to that. Friday from 5 to 5:45, we're having the first ever drum circle at least from 1981 up. I don't know about you 60s kids that grew up around here, but we're going to do it at Hugger Mugger outside. If it's raining, we'll be inside. We've got about 15 really awesome percussion folks from Lee County and Wake County coming down. And it's open to the public. Bring your hand drums, your tambourines, your shakers, it doesn't matter. Bring your kids, it's going to be fun. 45 minutes of just drumming. It's 5 to 5:45 on Friday. Saturday, Dad and I are playing at the Camelback Bridge with Pat Harrison.
Camelback Brewery, not
Brewery, sorry. The Camelback Brewery, yeah. I lived at that bridge for 3 years doing paddle stuff there. But it's going to be cool. We'll do an hour of bluegrass and 2 hours of rock and roll country and some stuff like that. And Jeff Townsend's got some stuff at the Barrel that night, Friday. And then, of course, Tim Hare and them are going to be awesome tomorrow night. So.
Don't they do that in Nashville, the drum circle?
They do it in DC and Nashville, Asheville, down in New Orleans. So we're just trying to create a cool music vibe here. Bring the hippies out. Yeah.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
Yes, Yvonne.
I've got several. One of them is the Temple Theater is having a golf tournament on May the 14th. And therefore, we need to have players, we need to have sponsorships, and I've even got raffle tickets for, a few days up in Grove Park Inn if you win. And you play golf, number 2 golf course in Pinehurst, or number 4 in Pinehurst, or second and third place prizes. And all 3 will be great prizes. And I know 3 people are going to be winning for sure. And I hope that it's one of you. So if you would like to have tickets or anything, I'd be happy to oblige you with tickets and brochures to fill out. Next is on the May the 10th, we're having our dessert and drink in the balcony for Greece. And that's something else that we need to really consider. And Peggy has given us a discounted price on the seats, but we need to go ahead and get those seats reserved because people are already wanting to sit up there. And so right now we're in competition with the other people that want to see Greece. So John's going to be having a sign-up sheet next week. So consider that, but meanwhile go online or go visit on Facebook and let's get our tickets, okay?
Thanks, Yvonne. Any other announcements? How about brags? Anybody have a brag today? Yes, Ed.
Well, Purdue lost again, but this is for Carson Edwards. He's a great little basketball player.
Yeah.
Awesome players.
Awesome player.
Any others? John?
In the snow in Wingate on Tuesday, I defended my dissertation, so I'm now Dr. John Crumpton. That's 5. I got to keep going.
Okay.
So and I need to brag on David Spivey and his crew at Jonesboro-Printing. They helped me out with my 7 copies of my dissertation on some very special and expensive paper that I had to use. And calling around to everybody, he was the only one that had it. So, and by the way, they took a look at it yesterday and they said it was a great job. And then my daughter Molly called me this morning and she graduates in 5 weeks and she got a job offer this morning that she's going to take. So, thank the Lord.
Thank you, John. Peggy, yes?
I now have 5 great nieces and nephews. My newest great nephew was born last week. His name is Hank. This won't mean anything to most of you, but he weighed in at 11 pounds, 7 ounces. Means something to my niece.
Yes, Terry.
I got to brag. I'm not going to get in front of the camera because I don't want people to see me. All the work that actions of bragging and also appreciation. Everyone that helped put Dr. Bud farewell together, I appreciate it. And I guess the bragging part is, Dr. Bud is a man of few words. He sent me a thank you note. He said, thank you. So that was like getting a note from God.
That's all it said was thank you?
Yes.
Thank you, Terry. Yes, John.
Yeah, I've got a happy announcement. our own Debbie Scott is joining us at Sanford Real Estate. So thank you, Debbie. What you probably don't know is when Debbie was in Florida with Coldwell Banker, when she left Florida, she was 5-time Realtor of the Year in her community. And the only reason that the run stopped was because she left that year to come up to North Carolina to be closer to her daughter. So thank you for wanting to come on, and look forward to working with y'all.
Okay, any others? Okay, more space.
Thank you, John. You know, there's an old thing about had a BA degree, a MA degree, a PhD, and had everything but a JOB. So you're in great shape in that regard.
I'm very lucky.
Very, very lucky. Thank you so much. Earlier this year, Jane Yvonne Bullard was nominated for the 2019 Governor's Award for Outstanding Volunteer Service, and I am excited to let you know that she was chosen as a recipient from Lee County. Congratulations, Yvonne.
Well, I really thank everybody, especially you guys, because that was the basis for the whole reporting. And without President Morris and John Ramsberger, they helped me put it all together. And I'm thankful for all of it because the Rotary has meant so much to me, and you helped me to deliver. Thank you.
I also wanted, this is from Janice Holmes, many of y'all know her, I also wanted to invite you to our annual volunteer reception on Wednesday, May 1st at 2 o'clock, where she will receive her award and certificate and pin from Governor Roy Cooper. Please feel free to share this with her fellow Rotarians. So I'm gonna email Janice and just say that there will be a crowd of Rotarians there to see her accept that award, and I'll keep us posted. But May the 1st, put on your calendars, May the 1st at 2 o'clock, and that's just an exciting time for Yvonne, for all of us, and it's our pleasure to have Yvonne in our club.
Morris, where's it? Where? Where?
No, I thought it was.
May 1, 2 p.m.
I'll have to find that out.
Well, they do one at the Enrichment Center, then they do one
That's what I was thinking, it was in Richards.
in,
I'll find that out and get back to us
probably
on
in
that.
Raleigh.
But I saw the governor this morning, and he was at the meeting I'm at or whatever, so, and had a lot to say to us in the utilities, but we won't go there. David, anything you want to mention about district conference?
Well, I know that myself, my wife, Debbie, and Jim are going to district conference. Anybody else wants to go, I think Monday is the 8th. That is the last date to get a discount on your room. After that, it goes up. So it's still not too late. Greenville, South Carolina. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Okay, great, thank you. And we had I had an email just to share with the club. Anybody that would want to help the bag stuffer, they have a giveaway. I can't even think of what they call that or whatever. But anyway, a bag with pins and stuff like that in it. And
It's a goodie bag.
Thank you, Larry. A goodie bag. And so if you have 225 items that you want to donate for the goodie bags that they'll be preparing, I've got the name and we can get that information to you. And our club will be providing 3 door prize gifts for that. There'll be 2 gift cards, and then one company has volunteered to purchase some pottery. So we'll be well represented in that also. Let's see. Also wanted to recognize the prodigal son returning, Jamie Bowen. No, I'm just kidding about that. We're glad to have you back. I understand your assignment is about to wrap up at the other place. And
Well, it has. I'm back in town full-time
great.
now. So.
We're certainly glad to have you. If you have any pot of gold tickets, Jim's out. See Larry at the end. And then last thing, before we do some other things, I want to thank folks that have stepped up for me last couple of weeks. My schedule has been very busy at work, and then, as I say, I had a funeral that I had to be in Louisville. And being a manager myself, I know one of the marks of a very good organization is when the fellow that's supposed to be the head man, what's in charge, when he's not there, and it goes on without him, you've got a great backup team, you've got a great support team, a great organization. And I want to thank John, David, and Larry, and other David too, and Jeremy for, as I say, stepping up and taking care of it while I've been gone. Thank you very much. And then now I want to recognize one of the truly great organizations in Lee County, and that's CUOC. And if y'all will come forward, Ms. Jones and Kelly and Susan. It's a great organization. We're very glad that y'all can come right around that side there, and you're going to get to hold the end of this. But it's our privilege to present to you a check for $1,000 as a donation, and all of us that regularly meet there on what is it, the third Thursday, and do the backpack. You see the amount of work that goes on at that place. I don't know if that much work goes on in my office or what, especially when I'm out. But a tremendous amount of work goes on there, and to have a leader and other leaders that step in and take care of that, it's just an impressive thing to see, and we're so proud to just have a small part of it, and we want to thank you on our Rotary behalf for taking care of our county, the folks in our county that really need this, and just thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We get a picture of you guys here. Big smile. Good morning, Susan. There you go. Excellent. Thanks.
Anyone else want to say anything before she does about this fine organization?
Thank you.
Thank you. We packed 642 bags this morning.
Wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, sure. And that big thing is not negotiable, so here's something.
Thank you very much.
It's not legal. It's not legal tender or whatever. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Well, I first got into Rotary in 1989 when a gentleman named Wallace Linewan in Elizabethtown, North Carolina, came into the bank and that I was working for and invited me to go to Rotary. And I didn't know it at the time, but their plan was they needed a new president for the club. So I was only in the club for about a month before they nominated me as president of the club. So I knew I had been tricked. So a couple of years or several years later, my next foray into Rotary was in Laurinburg, and a gentleman named Guy McCook, who became a good friend of mine there, invited me to go, and I said yes, as long as you don't nominate me to be president. So thankfully I was never president there. So when I got to Sanford, I met David Spivey, and he invited me to Rotary, and having been a Rotarian down Laurinburg, it was just a easy transition to move from the Laurinburg Club over to the Jonesboro Rotary Club, and I thank David for inviting me. And every Thursday at noon at the Flame Steakhouse, I try to make it, but can't always do it. But always, because of Terry's great work, I can do a makeup. So thank you, Terry.
Why did I join Rotary? Well, let me tell you about that, because right over here, I've got the reason I joined Rotary. This is Neil Jensen. He invited me. Drag you on over here. Okay, this is Neil Jensen, and he invited me to go to Rotary to give a talk on petroleum industry. Then he invited me to give a talk on going to Alaska. And I heard those. Thank you very much. Okay, so Neil invited me to that, and then he said, you ought to join Rotary. So he invited me to join Rotary because Rotary does good deeds. It's service above self. Service, meaning giving money to do good deeds, getting rid of polio, getting to help backpack pals where you make food for the children. And then in Texas, doing a good deed meant providing energy for the country so the northerners wouldn't freeze in the dark. There are two Porsches here. Now I'm from Texas, and you might think one of these is for me and one of these is for my wife, but it's not. This one's mine, and this one belongs to a very good friend of mine that I'm going to bring out here in front of the camera. Now we've got to put Terry here in front of his, and I'm in front of mine. And this is Rotary being friendly to one another. We meet every Thursday, well, most every Thursdays, except when we have a family event. We meet down at the Flame at noon. Y'all are welcome. Come down here.
Most definitely. Come on down, 12 o'clock at the Flame Steakhouse on Thursday. And Larry Akins put me up to all of this joke that we're doing today.
No, Larry didn't put me up to what I'm doing.
Hey, thank you, my good friend.
What happened to Neil? Where's Neil?
Oh, he's coming next time.
Okay.
He's next week.
We need to have the speakers.
Terry, that was fantastic. That was actually pretty funny. And Neil, I don't know if you knew what you're being dragged into. Clearly you didn't.
No.
And,
Neither did he.
and I was going to reference, Terry didn't know he'd have to come out from in front of the camera, but that was good that you put him on the spot from where you were on the camera, because now that you declared it, he had to come out. So it was pretty awesome. Teresa and Susan, do you have any updates you can give us for what CUOC is doing? Okay. As you know, this crowd is very familiar with Christian Schneider Outreach Center.
Yes.
We love contributing and we love to help out. We feel, blessed that we can do that. But can you tell us what's been going on and what new things you're doing?
Yeah, just before you guys get up and talk, because my family, Grace and I, have been so involved or so close to COC for so long. You all need to know that they just celebrated the 15th anniversary of CUOC. And, folks like John and Bob Joyce and people who know what happens in this town are really, really grateful. The commissioners are really, really grateful for what CUOC does. And a lot of things you guys don't even know what they're involved with. For example, the other night they were there doing Easter baskets for the kids, and we'll start giving them away either tomorrow or Monday for the clients that come in. So I just want to say before they start how appreciative we are as an organization, a service organization, to the service that they provide to this community. And without them, there would be an awful lot of people who would go without food. So from our standpoint, from a Rotarian standpoint, you do exactly what Rotary is all about.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to let Susan Clegg, I know a lot of you know her familiar because she is the head of my Backpack Pals program. She doesn't like to think so, but Susan is also on my board of directors. So I appreciate everything that she does to help us. This morning, 640 bags, 642 bags were packed because we are getting ready to go into spring break. And kids need a little bit more than just a weekend of food. So we've been packing for double bags to go out this week so that they've got food provided during the week that they're out of school. So I really appreciate her. I'm going to let her pass out these brochures. I didn't get here. I apologize. We actually had our United Way Community Investment meeting at 11 o'clock, and it was a full hour of talking. So if I miss anything, I apologize, because I'm not sure if I repeated it before or not. But this is the new venture that CUOC has partnered with the Lee County Extension Office to do, and it's called the Borrowing Kitchen. And the Borrowing Kitchen has came to fruition because we started a food sampling. Extension was there yesterday and actually prepared a meal so that our clients could taste it and see what it was all about. And so during some of the food classes that we've been offering to the clients, we found out that there were a lot of people that did not even have the basic things that they needed. There was no blender, there was no mixer, there was no toaster oven, there was no canner. There was just a lot of things that they started to finding out, measuring cups, that our clients did not have. And when we started thinking about Thanksgiving and providing the turkey for our families, did they have a pan big enough to cook that turkey in? That was something we never really thought about. We're all about providing for people based on what we think their needs are, but what were their real needs? And so some of that was identified during this partnership with the Extension Office. Through the Extension Office, we were able to get a grant in partnership with North Carolina State University as well, and NCA&T. And the Leading Toward Wellness Committee started talking about some of these shortcomings. And so the grant has provided brand new equipment in a storage building that's at CUOC. So if a family, I've just talked with Gary Thomas, Thomas Farms, just within the last couple of days, and he has planted squash for us again. And during the summer, the spring, we have a lot of squash that comes in. But if you're a farmer or know anybody that's a farmer, it all comes in at one time, right? It doesn't kind of space itself out. So we have an abundance. But our families, how do they put that up? How do they put it in the freezer so that they can wait for later to be able to have it? And so the canner, not everybody can afford a canning system. So they now have a canner in the Borrowing Kitchen so that they can check that out, be able to use it to can squash or whatever it might be, and then return it back to us. They don't have to buy it. So same thing. What about an Instapot? That's the big thing right now. During the holidays, everybody wanted an Instapot. Well, some of our families can't afford a $70 or $80 Instapot, and they don't know if they would even like it. So why would they invest that kind of money? So now there's a couple of Instapots in the Borrowing Kitchen that can be checked out and let them see if they like it. The one thing, because we partnered with NC State and the Extension Office, is that every piece of equipment that's in the Borrowing Kitchen has directions with the basket that it comes with. It's a picture explanation. So they can flip through and look and see how to use that piece of equipment and what the safety protocol is and how to clean it and bring it back so that somebody else can use it. We started this system based on a 4-week process, which 4 weeks is when our clients can come back for food assistance. So they can check it out and 4 weeks later bring it back. So perhaps they're having family for a special event. If they need a big stock pot maybe to cook something in, they can borrow that from us and then bring it back in 4 weeks. They can only check out through the Borrowing Kitchen if they've attended the classes for cooking that the Extension Office is offering at CUOC. So the food demonstration yesterday opened up the door to some of our clients to be able to sign up for these classes that will be held in the 1st of May. And once they finish the class at the graduation, they get walked through the Borrowing Kitchen lending library type thing on the computer so that they know how to check out a piece of equipment. And so they can do that in our office. We'll open the key, open the building, get their piece of equipment out and give it to them. Once they check it out for 3 or 4 times and bring it back the way they're supposed to, they get a bonus. They get a voucher from us so that if we have it in our system, they can actually get it for free and take it home forever. So we have people that have been donating some equipment to us. We have microwave, we have toaster oven, we have some cooking pots that came in, and they wanted those to go toward the clients with the borrowing kitchen. So that way they'll actually have something they can keep forever if it's something that they want. So we're excited about that partnership. The ribbon cutting was just a couple of weeks ago. Last week, I think it's all running together now because of our anniversary celebration, but we were able to roll that out into the community. So I want everybody to take a handout. It gives you a little bit of idea about how the bar and kitchen is going to work and that partnership that we have. So we're really appreciative of the Extension Office. So Backpack Pals is going wonderful, and it's because of groups like this that help us to be able to do what we do, to pack those bags every week. We are excited that we are going to be doing the summer feeding program again this year through the summer. Right now, about 6,800 kids in our Lee County school system are on free and reduced. We are only providing about 340 bags a week. That's just a drop in the bucket of the kids that really qualify for the program. We work through the guidance counselors to identify those students, so it's worst case situations. But you can imagine that only the Boys and Girls Club and YMCA provided any kind of program for the summer for feeding kids, and that was the kids that were in their programs. So all the other 6,800 kids that are out in our community that are not in one of those 2 programs did not have resources for summer food. So we walked with the school system to identify the neighborhoods where most of these kids lived. It could have been trailer parks, it could be public housing. There were a lot of places that these kids are concentrated in. And so we identified last year 25 neighborhoods across our community that had kids that were high risk. So what we took upon ourselves is that we're going to continue the backpack program through the summer again. And we have volunteers, just like yourself, that would come in on a Tuesday or Thursday, pick bags up from us, and actually go to a drop zone. We have signs that identified as a drop zone with the time that they would be there. Say, for instance, we have a sign that says summer feeding available at 11 o'clock every day on Tuesday and Thursday. That sign would be at the beginning of a development or a neighborhood, and our volunteer would go to that sign, and any kids that were there under the age of 18 got free bags of food. There was no questions asked, though it could be any kid that was home. We have a lot of kids in our community that are latchkey kids that go through the summer when their parents are still working. They're at home alone, having to kind of fend for themselves. It's just another way to provide them food. It's a way to provide the people through our backpack program. We will be sending flyers home with them to let them know that we're going to be in their neighborhoods and where we'll be located, so that they know that there's a place that they can get food resources through the summer. So we're excited about that program continuing on. Last year we distributed over 5,000 bags through the 2-month period of July and August when we were out of school. And so when you think about how many kids that fed that maybe would not have had any other kind of resource, it's through the grant monies and it's through the volunteers like yourself that come to help us to be able to pack those bags and get them ready, that we're able to meet that need in the community.
Did I understand you correctly? You need 25 volunteers to deliver to the spots that you identified?
Yeah,
Really?
and some volunteers did 2 drops. So they might have had a neighborhood close by. We tried to make sure that the neighborhoods were not across the street of a busy highway,
Yeah.
that they didn't have to cross the road to get to us. So you might go at 11 o'clock to one drop zone and might be at the other one at 11:15 or 11:20. So some of the volunteers did a couple of different neighborhood drops if they were in close proximity. It just really depended on where and how it was located to where we could be. The other thing that happened, as we start thinking about our volunteers going into some of these neighborhoods, some of them are not as safe as what maybe they should be. So we had a little concern for the people that we were sending into those neighborhoods. And so in talking about that, we went to the sheriff's department to talk to them about where we might be a little more concerned or maybe a little more cautious to be able to provide those bags. And the sheriff's department was so excited about what we were doing that they actually adopted a couple of the neighborhoods and the projects where they are already working with community service and community policing in those neighborhoods. And so the sheriff's department would come every Tuesday and Thursday and pick up 50 or 100 bags and take to those neighborhoods and actually be able to give them out to the kids that were there. It builds a rapport with the sheriff's department and that the kids trust them and depend on them. It also helps us to be able to get it to the neighborhood that really probably needs it some of the worst. So we're excited that the summer looks like that we're going to be doing the same thing again. So if you're interested in either helping pack bags to get them ready so that we've got distribution, and you know, Susan always appreciates help to help get them to where they need to go with volunteers. So we try not to use the same school volunteers unless they just want to volunteer and continue through the summer. But we do try to have new faces come in to be able to do some of those things. So
when do you start back?
It will probably be the 2nd or 3rd week of June. We give our regular backpack people a couple of weeks off because they used to get the whole summer off when it wasn't packing, but now we give them a couple of weeks off before we actually start back. And during that 2-week process, we're actually going to be providing this food this year for the what's the summer program called at the school, the Sheila.
From the Baptist Church?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a program that they have, an expanded program for kids that are high risk that start the first 2 weeks of school. And we'll be providing food for that as well. So we're going to pack up before we leave for the 2-week break. And when we come back, we'll start. So probably about the 2nd week of June. And it will run till the last week of August. We normally take a week off before school starts back just to give us a transition period back into the school program. I will tell you that through Backpack, you know, when we took Backpack over a couple of years ago, they were only in the elementary schools. We were doing about 100 bags a week, 150 bags a week through communities and schools to the elementary schools. As of this year, we're in every Lee County school, with the exception of the 2 private schools. So that actually opened up a door that we are actually in the community college this year. The community college came to us. They were looking at starting a food pantry for their students at CCCC because they still have some kids that are identified that maybe can't get, they're spending their gas money to get to class or whatever. So they started hunger-free zones at the community college in the department chair heads' offices. And so a kid or a student that's in the process that maybe needs a little extra food can go to that hunger-free zone and get a bag, no questions asked. So we're providing those bags to them as well. This year, for the first time, we are also at Ascend Leadership Academy, which is our free charter school that started this year in Sanford. The one thing with Ascend, they have about 30-some students there that are actually qualified as free and reduced. They're not taking bags home on the weekend, though. They choose not to. But they have no cafeteria. And so they are on a food purchase program through the restaurants. And so when they don't have their purchases made, they don't get food from the restaurant. So there is no other alternative for them to have any food resource during the day. Because if they forget or their parent maybe doesn't have the money, doesn't go on there and get their food, if they don't bring their lunch, they have no food resource available. So we are providing bags to Ascend so that they can have an emergency food source for their kids, because you can imagine them being there in class all day long without anything to eat through the day. It gives them a resource for juice boxes, some milk, maybe 2 entrees, some snacks, so that if there is an issue that they have got something on campus to be able to offer the kids. So we're excited about how the Backpack PAL program has grown over the last 2 years, being able to provide that summer program. The new borrowing kitchen for CUOC. We are so excited that we did celebrate a couple of weeks ago 15 years in this community. We have over 11,000 client files of people that we've assisted, either with financial aid, through a rental eviction, or a power shutoff notice, or food assistance over those 15 years. And what is so exciting to us at COC is that at that volunteer banquet that we had about 200 in attendance, we were able to burn the note to our building.
Oh, yeah.
We have worked really hard with our thrift store. The money that comes in through our thrift store, we've been making double payments on our mortgage, so that as we move forward and we think about expanding programs and we think about the borrowing kitchen and the client's needs, that we've now been able to stop a once-in-a-lifetime financial aid assistance to once every 3 years. So we're actually able to put more money toward that program so that we can help clients that are in a tight situation that need our assistance. And by freeing up ourselves from that mortgage, we can now pay for the $80,000 roof that we're pricing right now to get quotes on to fix. And there's expenses of owning a commercial building that we have to face, and so it's going to free us up to be able to do some more of those things that need to be done. So we can't do it without you as a community. I'm the only full-time staff person that COC has. I have 4 part-timers, and everybody else that works for us are volunteers. They give of their time. One of the ladies that does some of our data entry had over 700 hours last year of volunteer service. And that's like having another full-time staff person available, and it's somebody that just wants to be a part of what we're doing and giving back to us. So we can't do it without you. We are working, we are trying to come up with things that we know will help the people in our community to have a better life, and so we thank you for helping us do that. Thank you.
Deliveries?
I don't have it yet. We're in the process.
We're gonna be with you,
so
on the
if you're
18th.
interested in the summer program and you want to do something with it, if you'll talk to Susan and give her your name and phone number, we'll get you added to the list. And if you've got an email, we can put you on the email blast so that when we start putting the information out, we'd be happy to let you know what's going on and when we're going to start. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Fantastic, Susan. Thank you.
I didn't get a check.
Oh, yeah. It's made out to COC. Teresa had referenced this, but when Lee County Partnership for Children had dissolved a couple of years ago, they did so because of funding dried up, lack of funding. And
communities and schools.
Yeah, communities and schools. I'm sorry. Thank you. Miss said that. But COC and eventually Susan picked it up and said, we can't let that die. That is too vital. So humbly, she has described the myriad services that they provide. But you did that because you said, no, this is not going to, we've got a lot on our plate, but we need to add this. So congratulations on having your note paid down, which does free you up for doing more stuff with your monies. Fantastic. Okay, Neil, thank you for doing the 50-50 raffle today. Appreciate you picking that up. Go ahead and let's do the 50-50 drawing.
While he's doing that, I will take $5 for each ticket on your way out.
Go ahead. How much did you get today, Neil?
Okay, we got $56, so half of it goes to Polio Plus, half of it goes to the last 4 are 5045.
5045.
Andy.
Andy, there you go, Andy. All right, we're going to do one more drawing here.
Andy is donating back to the shelter box.
Thank you, Andy. Very, very nice of you.
Hey, Susan,
Jim will be happy too.
can you come over?
Susan, we need you to pull a ticket over here, darling.
Putting you to work.
We're going to make you like Vanna White today. How's that sound? You got to be on that side, 'cause that's what
We'll open it up right here.
So this is for a $100 drawing, and it is for our big fundraiser. We do this at each meeting, and then the ticket goes back in. So if you'll just pull one out, please. And the winner is Dan Hartman, as sold by Van Silliman. Or Don, not Dan, but Don Hartman. So Don, we will go ahead and send him a check for $100 and then put that back in there.
I'll take it to Van.
Good. Sounds good. All right, well, again, Teresa, Susan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for wanting to partner with us. I think it's a great relationship that we have. If you want to assist with what they're doing with the summertime with the backpack pails, obviously come on up and speak with them. And we're going to have, let's see, Who won the 50-50? Andy. Andy, we're going to have you do the pledge and the four-way test, please.
Four-way test of the things we think are good. First,
is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.